Today we're going to finally fix my really old planer because I finally got the parts thanks to the post office. Okay, so just a quick recap of the problem. The cap on my Craftsman planer snapped. It actually fell off the table and broke. So we tried, in the previous video, we tried epoxying the cap lever back on and it didn't work at all. So I found on eBay a lovely person who had parts. So here they are in all of their glory, packaged in such a way as to prevent me from opening them. There we go. Have knife will travel, I always say. Now this repair might work, it might not work. It might not be as simple as putting it on, but it might be. Alright, so put this over here for a second. This is what was in the box. A new base, another blade, and the cap. Now, this cap is gross. It is very dirty. It's going to need some attention. It's never been flattened on the bottom here. I don't care about this. Don't need that. This might become something different in the future. So we're going to hang on to this and put that over there. Because this blade will probably work with this base, I am hoping. So we'll see. But for now, put it over there. Don't need you right now. Don't need you right now. So they are exactly the same size. The only difference is color. They even have the same part reference stamped into the bottom of them. But as I said, they're gross. This new one is gross. I'm almost afraid to use it, but we have the technology. So the first thing we're going to do is clean this up and flatten this out and make sure that we have good contact all the way across. Now, the good news is I only have to flatten this piece out once and it should work just fine. As a test, let's see. Let's see what we see. Put this on here. It goes on. That works. That will work. Yay! Hooray for eBay. So, how do I do this? How do I flatten this out and make it all nice and pretty? Well, that's next. So to clean our little friend here, we're going to need a few things. The first thing we're going to need is some paint thinner, a rag or a set of rags, a utility knife, and a brass brush. We're also going to need some things to flatten out the bottom. To flatten out the bottom, we're going to need a diamond plate, 300 grit. We're going to need a ruler because I like to use the ruler method. We're going to need some Home Bright because rusting, sharpening stones are bad. Obviously a holder, and then a place to catch all the mess we're about to make. And finally, some lint-free towels to pick up the mess. So that's what we need to do this job. It seems like a lot, but it won't take very long once we get started. So let's do that now. But first, let's get rid of all this stuff. Okay, so first things first, we gotta get all the junk, crap, dirt, rust, oil, what have you, off of this filler cap. Sorry, not filler cap, that's your car. Planer cap. You don't need this whole thing. You just need a little bit. And because it's not very big, I would argue you don't need that much. So let's just get rid of it. Okay. So take a little bit of paint thinner. And you just get it in there. Just get it in there. This is just me being, I don't know, critical of my tools. But you know what? If I do this one time, I don't ever have to do it again unless something could, you know, something really bad happens. And you see already the little bit of paint thinner with a little bit of brushing, and it looks a lot better already. Now, especially with, you know, somebody out there might say, oh, he's doing that for COVID because it's dirty and yada yada yada. Well, you know, it's not because of COVID, because studies have recently shown that it travels by air and not necessarily by contact. Also, I don't think the virus would ever adhere to a metal surface or a mill steel surface, but it's better to safe to be sorry. So if that's what you think I'm doing, I'll let you. Okay, there's that. That looks a lot better than it was. There's still some here. Now, if I wanted to be really tacky or really anal, I could paint this. And if I really wanted to be silly, I could go and get it Cerakoted to match the rest. But I don't care. Okay. Squeaky. Maybe some more right here. Don't want this to evaporate on us. That's done. So just to show you, this is all the junk that came off of that thing. Gross. Yuck. So we're done with this. Don't need that. Throw that away. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to take and flatten this bottom edge here so that it rides on the blade correctly. It doesn't take a long time, but it's something that you should do with every planer. I don't care if it's out of the box new or not. You should do it with every planer. Now, if you take a look at this closely, you can see that it's not hitting the blade right. It's uneven all the way across. So what we want to do is make sure that this is flat, right? And that's where our diamond plate comes in. So let's bring the diamond plate in, and with all the accoutrements, and make sure that we get this thing flat. Alright, so I got my diamond plate out. Here's the cap. Now, what we want is the even contact across here. So the best way to do that, especially since I don't know anything about this cap, take your Sharpie, which I know I didn't give you as a list of the items before, but you would want it for this, and just paint the top of this edge. And the reason we're doing this is we're trying to determine where this is making contact, because the point is we want an even distribution of contact between the cap and the blade so that we have a good surface, right? So we basically want this to be of even contact. We want it to make even pressure across it so that we get even cutting, right? So to do this, we're going to rub this back and forth across here. It only takes a few seconds. You only have to do it once, but you'll notice that this obviously is going to be an uneven surface. So what we do is, it just so happens that if I take one of my other stones, put it right next to it, that's the right angle for this. You'll notice it's pretty much flat now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take our friend the ShopRite here, HomeRite, And I'm just going to give it a couple of whacks like that. And that's just for lubes. You don't want a lot because you don't want to ruin your paint on your that you just put on the bottom of the cap. So even pressure on all three sides. One thumb on one side, finger in the middle, and then you just want to just a few seconds. Oops. Okay. So if I look at this real quick, you can tell that I have pressure, I have good contact on the ends, on this end specifically, but not much in the middle. So to fix, the good news is that it's basically telling me that it's shaped like this, or this way, it's shaped like this, which means only the outside edges are making good contact. So it's a really easy fix. Guess what? You just keep going. See, that's much better. It's not perfect. Not perfect yet, but I think another, 5 seconds, 10 seconds or so, and that'll take care of it. Now, how much pressure am I putting on is light to medium. Rob Cosman describes it as enough to deflect a firm grape. Not crush it, but just get it to deflect a little bit. So it's not much at all. And see, now I've got a good even wear pattern right across the top there. I could go a little bit more right here, but that's good. You'll never have to touch this again. That's for life. That's good, right? So that's done. So we can get rid of this. And we can move on to assembly because literally that's all you had to do. Okay? And we'll go ahead and we'll test it with some shavings. So for right now, let's get rid of this. And we'll bring back in our friends right here. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on with my throat today, but I'll put that like that. Put that down like that. And see, it doesn't fit as snugly as it did before because now it's making it didn't before it had an uneven contact point. But now it's snug as a bug in a rug. Seriously. Yeah, that's not going anywhere and it's a good flat space. If I were to take this apart and put this together, the other way you can tell is put it together like this. Put it together like this, and then put it up to a light and see if you see any daylight through it. Now, I know you can't see that, but there's no daylight coming through there. It's not going anywhere. So that's a really good contact point. And you see, it took me 30 seconds, maybe, to do that real quick. There's nothing, right? All right, so let's put this on here. And we'll go over to the bench, and we'll go over to the vise, and we'll run some shavings through this and see how we go. Okay. To the vise. Okay, we're at the vise now. We got the blade and the new cap on there. Let's see how she goes. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. To be honest, this blade probably could use a little bit of sharpening, some honing. But as far as the grip is good. And I've got this thing set to the widest aperture right now. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. So let's do this. Let's close up the aperture a little bit. Yeah, Oh yeah, that works. Look at that. Yep, now these grooves that you see on top of the piece of poplar here, that's not because of the new blade, because we're getting, sorry, the new cap, or new to me cap. That's because this blade needs some sharpening. I used it before it broke, before the cap broke. I used it on some maple. It probably just needs a quick sharpen. But as far as the repair goes, this works very well. All day. Look at that. All day. Nice even shavings. Cool. Let's go back to the bench because I'll be here forever unless I stop myself. Yeah. Okay, so that is it. I'm going to save the blade sharpening for another time because there are other people who explain it better than I do, and I would like to have more than one blade to sharpen for you. But as far as the repair goes, it looks like our little favorite hand plane is back in action. So thanks again for watching. I hope you found this useful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe hit that bell notification for new videos. If there's anything you'd like to ask, please put it in the comments and I'll answer it as best I can when I can. And thanks again for watching, as I said, and we'll see you next time. Well, that worked out pretty good.